Yeah.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Hello, my name's Jim, by the way.
Hi, Jim.
Nice to meet you. Am I right in my understanding that you started all this?
Well, there's a whole load of us women. The very first turf event at Speaker's Corner was not actually a speaking event. We were just using it as a meeting point in September of 2017, and we were met by this very similar bunch. And a woman who might be here, I've seen her husband, Maria McLaughlin, was assaulted by 3 of them. One of them was caught and convicted later. So that kind of, then it became like an important place for us, and we would come on the anniversary of that, which also turned out to be a couple of years later on the same day, Magdalene Burns died, so we had a few little, and then we had the idea that Posey, me and DJ Lippy, do you know her?
Yeah.
We had the idea to do an actual speaking event on Women's Day 2020.
Right.
That was just before COVID hit, so we did it. And I think some people even got COVID from that meeting. And then we had to stop, because of the restrictions.
Right.
But then when the restrictions, so for the next couple of years while the COVID was on, when we could do it, actually then Posey, it's a long story. I don't know if you want me to tell it.
Yeah, well, I'm happy to
cut it out.
I'm happy to listen to as much as you're happy to say.
Yeah. So basically, Posey decided to do it every month.
Right.
Then she moved it here to the Reformers Tree. I can't remember exactly when. At least a year more ago, she moved it here because all of the Tommy Robinson lot were going to be at Speaker's Corner that day, because she didn't want to be associated and to get it confused.
Yeah, right.
Keep the women away from all those men. So then it really worked here, especially when the weather's nice like this. So she's just kept it here.
So I don't mean to sound ignorant.
Sure.
But so what's it all about?
What's the argument about?
Well, no. So
what are they talking about?
So basically, from my understanding, every time I speak to someone who a women's rights activist, they always frame it as that they are opposed to a men's rights movement. Now, I don't see it as a men's rights movement that your opposition is. Do you think that's fair to say?
Well, we say sometimes it's a men's sexual rights movement.
Sexual rights.
But actually, the whole of LGBT turned into a men's sexual rights movement. So on that element, it's the right for this
deviant
blurring of what, they took the lesbian and gay rights movement,
right,
and then they made it into the sexual rights movement, right, which is all like kink and things that have nothing to do with homosexuality necessarily.
No.
And so then they put all the trans in that as well, which
and they're
actually
trying to bring the paedophilia into it
with
too.
Trans, yeah. I think they actually are.
Yeah, they are. 100%.
They actually are.
No, they are. 100%.
The maps.
It's about what's it called? The pedagogy of the. I can't remember what it's called, but there's a whole thing about sexual liberation of the children, and that's where it comes from. All this postmodernism.
Part of it. It's all part of queer theory.
Yes, postmodernism. Yeah, exactly.
There's, a lot of lesbian and gays on our side. I actually found out about all of this whole argument from lesbian feminists who've been up against this for a decade more than the rest of us, because they started by infiltrating their lesbian groups.
Right.
The men. So they see it very strongly as a men's sexual rights movement, but it's more than that.
Yes, that's what I mean.
It's bigger than just that.
That's what I'm saying, and the fact as well is pigeonholing it like that gives people the wrong.
Well, that's part of it, and I think it's important, because we've all forgotten about transvestites and
well, I ain't, mate. I shout about
dirty old men dressing up in their suspenders.
That's what they are, but they're not men. They're dirty old men.
We've culturally forgotten about them, so it's important that we talk about that a lot.
Yes, that they're dirty old men and they're not just men.
All you have to do is go on, if you don't believe me or anyone, you just go on the Twitter, #GirlsLikeUs, #TransIsBeautiful, #, fucking really bad ones like what's it called, adult baby diaper lovers, all of this stuff, and it's all connected, and a lot of those men are like trans. So from a woman's point of view, a lot of it is that a men's sexual rights movement that is trying to encroach on our spaces, actually legitimising dirty old men coming in off actual changing rooms and swimming pools and stuff.
Yeah, but I just struggle
But it's
because
bigger than that.
but there's like 1% of people that identify as trans, and there's a lot more than men than that 1% of dirty weirdos that are trying to get into women's changing rooms and that.
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do, yeah.
So I just think it's important, like, to try and
The
make the
whole thing
distinction.
is kind of like,
It's just
you know, a
nonsense.
psychosexual problem.
It's not of God, mate. Basically, it's anti-human. But I don't know where
Yeah,
you
it is.
stand
You
on
know,
God
how
and all
can you
that.
possibly? I just don't understand how so many institutions are being captured. How can you possibly support little kids
It's got to be the
blocking
devil.
their hormones?
How can it not be the devil?
I don't know if I believe in God or the devil, but it certainly is evil to like sterilise and mutilate a growing young naive person.
It's
And
evil
then all the
manifest.
kids,
It is evil incarnate,
I
mate.
can't disagree with you, mate.
It's got to be the devil then.
Well,
Huh?
I don't believe in the devil.
Do you believe that if we stayed staunch in our Christian Judeo-Christian values and principles as a society on a whole, that we'd be facing this problem today?
Well, I certainly think that there are benefits to like Judeo-Christian or all the religions kind of give a framework for people to like behave well, and
yeah.
to, you know, society is very much about keeping us all together. So yes, although it, you
So
know,
it'd be good to believe in God then, don't you think?
well, you can't make yourself believe in something you don't believe in.
You can research it though and find out a reason to believe it.
I have researched
All right.
it over my life.
Alright, fair enough. I'm just trying to give a gentle
I
nudge
would,
because
if I could choose to believe in God and a heaven, I definitely would.
you don't think this is all prophetic as in the days of Noah?
It does seem like it, yeah.
And then we've got rainbow
It
flags.
does, but that doesn't necessarily mean that God and the devil are real. That's also, it's like these tales of wisdom,
I get
human
that. I get that.
history, you know.
But there's only so much coincidence you can say, oh, well, that's a
It's
coincidence.
very easy. The Bible and also other sacred texts are easy to look at, you know, and look for signs and say, oh, that did happen, but you just ignore the stuff that didn't.
Human augmentation, mixing clay and iron.
Oh God, transhumanism is the next step.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. And
That's why it's
prophetic
bigger.
as
That's
well.
why it's bigger than a men's sexual rights movement.
Yes.
It's a men's domination movement as well.
It's the elite's domination.
Yeah.
You got to get over this men
No,
thing,
who
man.
are men? It's a patriarchy. It is.
Well, yeah, but then
It's as
if
simple
we
as
talk
that.
about what sort of...
I do always feel welcome when I come on this side.
I don't know.
Everyone's welcome. Yesterday, I was in Honor Oak at the Drag Queen Storytime protests.
I was chasing up and down the country last year.
I was talking to both sides because I don't agree with Drag Queen Storytime for children. I actually think all drag's really sexist, and why would you want to do that whole thing in front of kids? But the people organising the demo are like Turning Point UK, and they're like right wing. And
The
then,
new right,
but then with them there were also some like what we would know as old right, far right, skinheads.
Right.
You know, and then
Doc Martens and suspenders.
proper skinheads, and like so. But I respect them. I was talking to them afterwards. I was interested to know they'd never heard of TERF.
No.
They kept saying, "What's it again? Trans." They would go, "Oh," saying it to their wife or whatever, like trans. Excuse you. They never heard gender critical, and they couldn't believe that they couldn't. Well, they're not really normies, are they? Though the fash.
The fash.
They're not really fash, they're just like football heads.
Yeah,
What's the difference?
I don't know.
you? What's the difference between you saying the fash and them saying the fash?
Well, no, they're not the fash, but they are the far right, and they proudly.
And what is far right? What does far right
Far
mean?
right to me means Trump.
Trump?
Make Britain better.
Trump?
We're going around in Trump stuff in England.
Oh, in England?
Yeah, in England. This guy, you're proudly far right, aren't you?
Well, I'd rather be far right than a communist scumbag.
There you go.
There you go.
I've known Max for
You know
6
what?
years, and he's not. He just loves wearing that hat. He loves trolling.
The thing is, though, what does the left do? They own it.
Yeah, yeah.
So you gotta
It's a troll,
be
innit?
out.
It's a troll,
and
innit?
round.
It's a massive troll. You want reaction, don't
Turf
you?
Island.
Really? But he does it to troll. He's not far away.
Okay, he's not far right. But
No,
do you think
no,
yesterday
no,
the
no.
worse and far right guy said?
You know what? So what? Who cares? Far right this, far left. Who cares?
If they're on the right side of history, does it matter?
If they're homophobic and racist and sexist against like abortion, I disagree with them on lots of things.
Right. You like,
I don't
you like
wanna- I don't-
abortions?
Yeah, I do. I love them.
I missed that.
One when I was 19, one when I was 40. Sorry, I'm not sorry.
Sorry, not soz. That used to be my name on the computer.
Sorry. And if you can't get past that, then
I don't know.
that's
I
fine.
still don't know. That's cool.
I know like religious people who are
Against?
pro-life.
Opposed?
Pro-lifers.
Yeah.
Like you. And
Have you seen what
they know
Fetus
I've
looks
had
like at a
abortion.
few
I do.
weeks? You seen what it looks like in the belly? A couple of
Yeah, I
few
actually
weeks.
researched it because I had to, so I did actually research what the fetus look like. Yeah.
Wait. So are you here supporting the women?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm a turf.
She got turf
I
written
put
on
a
her dress.
turf on you yesterday. I put a picture of you on Twitter this morning, which said turf. Enjoy turf.
Yes, I got a sticker yesterday, I remember, yes. I put it on a lamppost this morning, Clapham Junction. If anyone sees a sticker, Clapham Junction turf, that was me.
There you go.
TJ Lippy, have you interviewed TJ Lippy?
I have.
Yeah.
She don't like me no more.
No, why not?
Because she didn't like the way that I framed our interview. I didn't edit it. She didn't like the way I titled it.
Well, how did you say it?
I said,
maybe I won't like it either.
well, no, but this is. I've told you. I've been abundantly clear. I have issue. I take issue with people saying it's a men's rights movement.
I know, you told me that already.
Right, that's what I'm saying. So I didn't.
It's autistic as well.
Yeah, all right. You don't need to make excuses for me. But I'm saying that I said like I'm trying to get through to her. We're not. I'm happily married. Yeah. I've got no inclination, no ambition, no drive, no sort of weird ideas to want to go and get into women's toilets or changes or locker rooms.
None of the blokes.
But I am a man. So when people tell me there's a men's rights movement, I go, well, hang on a minute. They don't speak for me. Like the
it's not all men,
LGBT. Hang
it's not all
on.
men.
No, but like the LGBTQP people, like the lesbian, gays, and bis, don't want these people talking
Yeah,
for
you're
them.
right.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Trans.
Sorry, love. Why not?
We're being interviewed.
Yes, that's basically
I get that. I don't think. I'm pretty sure
Lippy's
there
got a
might be
problem
some
with that.
infiltrators, but I'm pretty sure all the blokes on this side do not want to go in the ladies.
No, exactly.
No normal bloke does.
Yeah. Right, there you go.
It's
That's the
happened, but it's
point.
very rare.
But when
We
you,
don't
Very
know
rare.
when we're not in these little demos and we're in the swimming pool changing room, whatever. We don't know which ones are which, so we have to just treat it like we need female only.
and that's not even a problem. That ain't even calling
calling
for female-only spaces is most definitely not an issue. I would argue it's a fundamental importance, but it's just the labelling, the framing of the men's rights movement. But like I'm saying, we're all in. You know my position, and like hopefully you won't
Don't
be.
you think that gay and lesbian rights are a sexual rights movement as well?
Gay and
Lesbian rights.
I'm a Christian.
So what do you disapprove of that?
I think it's a sin, and I believe. But hear me out. It's not for me to judge. It's for the Father to judge. So it's between.
The father's cool with it.
Right. Well, that's between you and him. And like, well, not you and him, but that's between whoever and God. Do you know what I mean? That's not for me to judge. But I personally, it's not my
Fair
cup.
enough. Yeah.
Like, that's it. I'm not here to try and wind people out. That's my bit.
I know.
Thank you very much for your time, Venice. I
Cheers, mate.
appreciate it.
Bye.
Cheers.